we are having a special conversation with none other than the pastor, Chris Nettles.
Thank you.
Welcome to the open book.
I am glad to be here, excited to talk with you guys and excited about what you're doing in our community.
Yes, so we're here tonight for this grand event. Like I was just telling Pastor Chris, and we know each other. He's the pastor of Purpose Driven Ministries in Fort Worth, and our churches are under Vision Fellowship of Churches. I attend Day Spring Family Church under Bishop Kevin Keith Dickerson and Pastor Sonia Dickerson. Hello. I would like to give honor to them as well tonight. But that's how we met. And so, on behalf of the Open Book and our family, Pastor Chris, we would like to congratulate you on something awesome that has taken place recently. So we'll talk a little bit about that. I was just telling Pastor Chris, or you have to tell me, what do you want to be called? Because right now you have a lot of titles. You have pastor, you have councilman-elect, you have council
Yes.
member. So what would you like for us to call you on tonight?
Chris Nettles or councilman or whatever, that's fine.
Okay, councilman. I told him that, I feel vested in this for the simple fact that I remember when you shared the post that you were going to run for mayor. And you took
Yes.
a picture that you were at the office getting the paperwork and all of
Mhm.
that. And so we were very, very excited about that. And so this is not just something that happened overnight. This success recently, we're going to get into what just happened, but this is years in the making. And so I feel vested in that. I know this past Saturday, actually, June 5th, my
Mhm.
husband had a birthday party. And I remember after the birthday party, I said, "Oh my goodness, who won the election?" That's how much I was looking forward to
Oh,
hearing the results. Okay. So recently, Pastor Chris has won the runoff election for councilman of District 8 in Fort Worth,
yes, we
Texas.
did it. We did it.
Yes. So how does it feel?
You know, I haven't had a day to breathe yet. The air of being the excitement of councilman. I have on Sunday morning we started getting calls about from the city manager, city staff, saying we're excited to have you on board, and I've been meeting with people, and so it just feels good to have worked and have not given up. And we'll talk about that tonight about the perseverance, because I think that is what really set with a lot of people this race. Knowing people like you who was there in 2017 that supported this young African American black guy with 4 kids to run against the
Yes.
established candidate that nobody has ever challenged in Fort Worth for Fort Worth mayor. And people who understand that story and has followed our journey understand how much it means to me and how much it means to you. I mean, like you said, you're invested. I mean, it's like
Right.
I have supported somebody who has turned the knob.
Right, right. And we want to say hello to your wife and your children because I know that they have had your back and on the
Yeah.
like at everything. They have been there for you and in the trenches with you on this election trail. So this wasn't the first time that you have run for office. Can you tell us a
Mhm.
little bit about the other two times that you've run for office?
So I tell people in 2017, well, actually 2016, when in December when Jacqueline Craig, the news story hit and people started was very upset about what took place,
Yes.
and then the outgoing mayor was at a church and said, is this just a B session? Completely disrespected the community. And I sat there watching the news and I said, what can I do? I mean, what is there to do? And I said, you know what? I'm going to run for public office. I said, because if nobody is willing to stand up to an established candidate, I would be. And it's kind of reminded me like David. David said, it was like, well, he's a Goliath. He's a giant. Who am I? and he heard the Lord's voice, and so he took what he had and used what he had, and so I threw my name in the ring to be a voice for the community. And my message, and if you have watched me over the last 17, so it's about 5.5 years,
4 years, 5 years.
4.5, yeah. If you had listened to my message, it has not changed. A voice for the people, power to the people, a beacon of the people, people.
Right.
And so, and I think that, and then, so, I say we didn't lose, we learned. Nobody knew me as we relate to politics. And I think we have to get out of that, just a food for thought, is that you might not know the candidate, but take a few moments to research them. In this recent election, and I'll talk about the one prior to this, but in this recent election, the lady was sitting in her car for about 5 or 10 minutes. And so, and when she got out of the car, and I was like, "Hi, my name is Chris Nettles. I'm running for a district." She's like, "Oh, I just looked you up."
Oh.
I said, "Well, I hope I can count on your support." "You can. I saw what you stand for." And and so she came to the polls. She didn't know who she was going to vote for. She looked me up. I was standing there to greet her, and there was a vote right there. And that's how important these election cycles are. And so in 2019, I ran again on the same platform. Our district were in shambles as it relates to representation,
Right.
as it relates to being a voice for the community, and grocery stores and things like that, and entertainment. And so again, we were unsuccessful. But I can tell, like the prophet said, I'm a songwriter, if you don't win, dust yourself off and try again, whatever you want to call them. And so, and people asked me when I was doing endorsements, they said, "Well, you ran 2 unsuccessful campaigns. Why are you running again? And then why should we support you? Why should we support someone who has not crossed over the finish line?" I said, we have not received the change that we need. And if we're going, right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're going to do what we have always done, we will get the same results that we have always got. And so I said, no matter what, I'm going to keep on running. And so this is my 3rd time. And some people say a 3rd time is a charm, whatever have you. Or some people say perseverance is what won the race. But I think all those mean something, but I think mostly the people had a choice. And I think once you have a choice, you can choose wisely.
Well, a couple of things I can say. One thing that's very consistent, I don't care where I drove across Fort Worth, I saw your sign, your picture.
Yeah.
It stood out every time. Like, I've been over in Crowley area, and I've been as far as, what was another area? The east side of Fort Worth. I've been over there a couple of times, and your sign has always been, so whoever placed your signs during your campaigning trail, I mean, they really were strategic in that. And then another thing I can say is your people, like, you were present, but also your people were present when you were not present. When
Right.
I went to vote, there was a guy, because you said you had just left. There was a guy there, and so he was, telling me, giving me some information about you and so forth. And so I said, man, you know what? Although I'm not in that district, he knows that he would have my vote. And so I'll share every post. I'll do what I can to back him up. But he also shared who was in that district, in District 9. And so I was like, oh, really? So he gave me information about that. So your people were very much on it, and so forth. And so that was one of my questions too. And you just kind of touched on it. What motivated you to keep running? Because I'll be honest, the human side of me, when you did not win for mayor, I was mad and I was upset.
I know, me too.
Disappointed. Like, that's just the human side of us. And so, but I did notice that during that time, more residents actually voted during that election, like the local election, not just
right.
because most of the times, and I'll be honest, transparent here at the Open Book, we believe in transparency. Years ago, I would just vote in the big elections, for president and so forth, because I didn't feel that my vote mattered a lot in the local elections. I'm like, Okay, I didn't really know too much about that, but as time went on, I started seeing more about it, researching and so forth. And so I actually started voting in every election because we've been
Right.
getting that right. And so recently we did notice during this election that there were a large number of people that did not vote. Why do you think people are not voting in the local elections?
Again, I think that people don't understand what uh, city council or your state reps or your local people actually do. And they play more of a major role than the president or the senators do. And so, and I tell people, just like as COVID-19 hit, when COVID-19 hit, they were saying federal dollars, federal dollars, federal dollars. We got to get federal dollars. And the president was signing, okay, send these federal dollars to Texas. Well, when he sent it to Texas, then it came into the governor's house. And the governor then dispersed out to the cities. And the city mayor and city council actually determined where those federal dollars actually went to, what neighborhoods they went to, who got vaccines, who had multiple vaccine clinics, and who didn't. And so and just like the winter storm, when or let me go back, the mask mandate, when the then President Trump was like, I don't want to make people wear a mask. And so I'm going to let the local government determine what their cities should do or what their state should do. So although you vote for the president, the people who determine, our safety, who, shut down the city was going to be the actual mayor and the city council and the county judge. The county judge, took weeks or whatever it was, a long time to shut us down.
Right.
And then it caused some people to lose their jobs because with him not, I was still working for the county. With him not shutting the county down, he left it up to department heads. Well, if he didn't shut it down, then if we didn't have time to take off, or if we didn't have PTO, we had to come to work, in the midst of a pandemic. And if you need your job, you need your job.
Right.
And so that's why local elections matter, because he could have came right out and said, the entire county is shut down. I'd rather have safety for my people than to risk their lives, and we're going to pay them.
Right.
That's the whole thing. I don't want to just be off. I need to be off and paid.
Right.
And my children. And so this is why local elections matter. Now, in 2019 versus 21, we had more people come out in the mayor and city council election. We did, but the number is still so astronomically low that we can't even tell.
I know. I noticed that.
Yeah. And in District 8 per se. So this is how we know we was on the right track. When I ran for 2017 for mayor, the District 8, two or three people that was in District 8, they got a total of 2,500 votes, 2,500 votes. And that's really how, a part of me losing, because there are certain areas in the city of Fort Worth that you need to run up the score for a candidate like me. And that would be District 8, District 5, and District 6. And sometimes you depend on the people who are running in those local races or smaller races to help push their numbers out so they can go towards the majority race, the mayor's race. In 2019, I ran for council and I grew the electorate 1,000 people, 1,500. We went from 2,500 to 3,700 voters. Okay. So we increased the electorate by 1,200. And I gained 1,100 of those votes, or 900, somewhere around there. So it was my campaign that brought those numbers out. This campaign election cycle, we had 6,800 people in District 8. So we went from 4 years ago, poured 4,000 people out, and 2 years ago we poured an additional 2,500 to 3,000 people out. So the numbers went up, but still, do you know how many people are registered to vote in District 8? 44,000. 44,000 people are registered to vote in District 8. 100,000 people live in District 8 and only 6,000 people voted.
So, okay.
6,800.
Okay, so that bothers me.
Yeah.
So, what can we do to change this? I mean, how do we get people more interested and invested in the local elections?
Yeah, it's almost like uh the turkey leg hunt. You know, you build the brand
Right.
and you sell it, and the people who eat it, they share it.
Right.
You know, and so people who went to Houston or traveled to Houston ever in their life heard turkey leg is coming down here, and there's a line down 30, 2 and 3 miles away. Not one day, not 2 days, but every day they hear. And because the reality is, nobody's going to say, sign me up for an election class. Sign me up or what's important to vote. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
So people like you, people like me, who understand that local elections matter, is that we share, we inform people, every person, one at a time. And then the Democrats, the Republicans have to spend their dollars and their monies into these local races so people can understand, because as a candidate, I can raise so much money. And then, like me, I went up against the establishment. My opponent outraised me probably 3-1. From May 1st, from the general election to June. No, I'm sorry. From May 1st to May 28th, she raised $60,000.
Wow.
I raised $20,000.
Okay.
And so we have to work with $20,000 to get our message across. Where if we have 100,000, we can reach more people.
Okay.
And so, and that's at a candidate level. And so we have to look to like our Democratic Party chair, or those that may watch the Republicans, your Republican Party chair, to put money involved in these local election races so that they can know how important it is. And like what I'm going to do in my vein, in my council seat, I'm going to keep the people engaged. Hey, this is what we do. I was talking to a Republican, and she was like, I don't vote for Democrats. And I said, ma'am, I don't care if I'm a Democrat, a Republican, a liberal. That pothole that keep tearing up your car ain't telling you to vote for no Republican. They're telling you to get somebody in there that's gonna fix that pothole.
Right.
One guy was like, what is your views on abortion? I said, sir, I can't vote on abortion. I don't have a stake in the grass, but what I can do is I can fix your street lights, your potholes. I can give you representation. I can also put you in place with your state rep who agrees with your abortion or non-abortion or whatever rights there may be. Right. I can give you the representation. And I think the people don't understand what we actually do. We deal with the city budget, like the pension is in trouble with the city, and so we oversee the police department. We oversee the fire department. And so when I lived in Everman, yeah, we hire and fire the police chief. We hire and fire the city manager. He's hired by the city council.
Okay.
Who oversees? This
is why this is important, because some of this we don't know.
Yeah, we oversee the code compliance. So it's a lot of things that the city, do. We disperse federal dollars. We disperse city dollars, and anything. If you see a grocery store go up, that grocery store only was able to go up because the city council voted for it to go up in that location. Wow. Any fast food, any restaurant, any business, like if you have a business, Keisha, and it's inside of a home neighborhood and it's a lot that's vacant, and you want to build your business there, but that property most likely is going to be zoned residential. And you say, but it's on the corner lot, it's miles away from my houses. I want my business there. Well, what you have to do is go to your city council and say, can you change the zoning? and to change it from residential to commercial,
Okay.
where I can build my establishment there. The city council votes on that. If they change the zoning, then you say, can I put XYZ there? That's who does it. Like people who have sports bars and they don't want sports bars in their neighborhood. You go to City Hall to fight them from coming to your neighborhood because City Hall is the only place that you have that fight.
So y'all have the power, and people
We
don't
got the
realize
power.
that. Oh my goodness. So okay, I wanted to ask you, what did you do differently this time than you did the last two times? Did you change up anything, a different strategy?
So the first time we had no money, and that and it takes money to run a campaign. But you saw me on the ground. You saw me. Me. All of us was like, we can't believe we lost. What do you mean? I saw him everywhere.
I was
But
upset.
but the money is where it is because the people who you can't reach, you send them things in the mail or you call them on the phone. So what we did just about what we did in 2019, but what we did is we maximized everything. So as it relates to phone banking, we turned up the phone banking. We called people all day long. Um, we knocked on doors. We had more money this time, and so we were able to send out more literatures to people's houses. And I didn't change my message. And I think that was the main thing. We had the people's agenda, we had the people at heart, and then I stayed visible. Throughout the summer. During the pandemic, I was marching because that's where my heart is. I believe
Right.
that if you're going to represent me, the only way you can represent me if you have spent time with me or been in the trenches. And I talk about um, a relative that smokes. And if you're around them long enough, when you leave, you will have that smoke on you. And you only can get that if you are close enough for the residue to be on you. And so if you're going to represent me, you have to be close enough to smell me, to hear me, and to be my voice. And so that's what I did in these last 2 years. I stayed close to the fire. I didn't blink. I didn't shake. And so I think that is what really helped us in this race.
Wow. And I must first of all I want to give a shout out to Crowley ISD. I
Whoop,
saw
whoop,
that
whoop, whoop.
you and because I work there. I currently work there. So I didn't even realize that you and Jared Williams were products of Crowley ISD. So I was like, what? And y'all are making history being the first African American members on the council. Is that
No, so
correct?
we will probably be the first Black African men to serve together on the council. But there has been
Together.
other African Americans that have served. But I don't know how young they were and were the younger. Well, Jared is younger than me, so we'll win that one.
Wow.
But we both are CISD graduates from the same high school. So I graduated in 2006 and he graduated in
Okay.
2008. So we was actually at the school together. Both of us played sports. And I think it's remarkable because, when you talk about, what schools you went to and now you can serve a major seat like this because, some people think city council is a lower level. You call it what you want to call it. But, you know, um, just as I explained to you, they have a lot of power as it relates
Yes.
to city government. And so it's important. And so I'm excited to serve with my former classmate or alma mater
Right.
uh, classmate. And so I think we're going to do great things together. Um, I don't know. This may be the first that we have a majority Black African American. So it's me and him along with Gina Bibbins, councilwoman. And
Okay.
so now you have 3 African Americans that sits on the council, as well as you have 5 progressive council members. And so Jared was able to flip a seat to give us a 5-4 progressive vote. But even in my race, our opponent was more conservative on the conservative progressive spot. So I'll be a little bit more pushy as it relates to
Yes.
things.
You know what? I can say you are on the front lines, even during the protest.
Mhm.
You will see Pastor Chris out there protesting. I admire that about you. You're not just about talk, but you actually walk it out. You walk the walk. And so that was exciting. Like I said, 2 out of 3 of the people,
Right.
my candidate choice won. I was still a little disappointed on one, but it is what it is. So what would be like the top thing on your agenda going, because I know you're about to be a very busy man, so what's like the top thing that is on your agenda for next?
As it relates to going into city council to do, or just
Yeah.
overall?
City council.
Okay, so one of the things we're gonna do on the first day, I'm about going in there and actually setting the foundation. So on day one, June 15th, soon as I take that swearing in, we're going to have a letter already written to give to Sharon Wilson, the DA, to ask that Aaron Dean be a trial date be set. I'm telling you.
Yes, yes. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, that's the first order of business. And I'm going to ask my counterparters to sign this letter with me. It's just a letter, but it's enough to a resolution. It's enough to say, listen, I'm sitting in this seat. This is not what we have had before. This happened not under my watch, but but what's happening now under my watch is there's no trial date, and we cannot heal unless we fix what has been broken.
Yes.
You know, the old song you say you got to clean up what you messed up
Right.
to start your life all over again. And so if we're going to do what is right for work, then we got to fix some things that are undone. And so that's number one. We're going to then run a robust program to help the 76104 zip code, where the lowest life expectancy. And, that affects me and it affects you. And
Right.
it affects your husband. And, people who are in our age bracket. It doesn't affect our grandparents because, my grandparents are in their 70s.
Right.
And so they have already passed 62 and 66. But the lowest life expectancy, it affects me. And so if I want to live past 62 or 66, then I have to do something different for District 8 to get those numbers to go back up.
And see, well, we used to live in District 8, but I worked in District 8 too for the longest. Eastern Hills Elementary.
Yes.
We lived off of Whitney over there, back in the back there by Target. We used to live there. And so I'm about that community too. I know a lot about that community. And I just hope that, as time goes on, that people will see how important this is. And I'm so glad that y'all are for change. Justice for Tatiana, that has gone on long enough. I'm so glad that's on the agenda. Is there anything else that you would like to share with the voters or share tonight with us? Any final words?
Yeah, I'm stay engaged. The election cycle is over. Some are disappointed in the mayor's race, but we are building a coalition. We are building a foundation, and we're almost there. And so we got to stay engaged. And we got some more local seats getting ready to come up. Oh my God, we heard some news today that I already knew, but I was too busy in my election to announce that. But we need to find somebody to run for county judge, and we need to find somebody to run for state reps, or state reps are up, Congress positions are up, some local judge seats are up, and so y'all got to stay engaged. We're gonna be voting again in March, and so which is less than a year away, and candidates are gonna start making their announcements, and so don't go away. Stay a part of the process. Hold me accountable. Hold Jerry Williams accountable. Hold these other people accountable. So when you see like issues that come across the table, or that mean something to you, come down to City Hall and talk about it, because if we are going to work for you, we need to hear from you as well, as well as us got to go into the community. So I'm going to be very vocal. I'm going to have our social media still going. Our website is going to be going. And so y'all just stay tuned. I haven't lost the faith. I'm still a man of God. And I tell people that, Martin Luther King Jr. wasn't just a preacher.
Yes.
He was an activist, and he had a jail record. He went to jail. Okay. and he he did that for his people. And so we're going to do that. We have this seat to use at our advantage and at our disposal. And so if your representative don't represent you like they should, you don't got to move to District 8. Just call me, because I'm going to speak about it. And, you know, and that might make some folks mad. I'm going to say, now, Jared, now, listen,
Right.
this is what the people are saying.
Come on now.
You know, it's what the people are saying, you know, and I'm just going to be honest with you.
Right.
You know, because I think we got to challenge one another. And, you know, I love Jared. We got to challenge one another, use that as an example. Well, we got to challenge one another that we are really going to be for the people who put us in these seats. And so, finally the people did not settle. They voted for Chris Nettles. And so we're going to be conquering new levels with Chris Nettles.
Woo!
That's what we're going to do.
I'm so excited. I just know great things are about to happen. Thank you, even for this time tonight, coming on, sharing this information. I really enjoyed it. I'm excited for you and your family. Anything I can do to support you all, just let me know, me and my family. And we're here to support you, and congratulations.
Thank you. And I will tell everybody on June the 15th, we will be sworn in as the official council persons at the Fort Worth Convention Center at 7:00. It's open to the public, and I'm sure they're going to have several spaces because they're expecting a lot of people to come since City Hall is going to look completely different. And so I encourage all you guys to come out, those that can. If you can't come out, it'll be live, I think, streaming live on the city website. It'll be streaming live on Facebook, I'm sure, and the news stations will be there. So if you can't make it, just tune in, and people are going to give their acceptance speeches, and listen to those speeches. Wow. Listen to those remarks, because they're going to mean something in the coming days. And so that's it. Thank you again. I have enjoyed you. And when we have other things that come up, controversial things, bring me back on. Let's talk about it.
Oh, yes, definitely. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed tonight. And thank you to our open book audience. Thank you for joining us for this special conversation with Councilman-Elect Chris Nettles. And I hope everyone has a great night. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.